So the IPGCE qualifications allows you to teach at which level, primary, secondary, or early years? Well, specifically for the University of Derby, is a general course for teaching ages 3 to 18. The only stipulation being is that you are working more than 16 hours a week, and this can include, doesn't have to be face-to-face teaching, it can also include preparation and marking as well, but normally you would need to have a letter from your school to say that you're doing this. The university are pretty flexible with the type of school. You can be in a language centre if they're already left in China, a kindergarten, or in any educational setting. They're not specific on where you need to be. You don't have to be in a British curriculum school or anything like that. And the most important thing is you've got the letter from the school saying that you can do it. So if you've got that and you're doing 16 hours a week, and the only other thing is you can't be teaching in post-secondary, so you can't be teaching students over the age of 18 only.
I'd just add to that and say that the fact that the Derby course is general, and I believe that's a very key point, because at the end of the day, what are we teaching? We're teaching kids, so those core skills and those core discussions, that's what we should be dealing with. So for me, if people want to do specific subject or age-related courses, that's great, go ahead and do that. But I believe something with Derby is that you can then capitalize on that general view, and you can learn alongside and from other people of different ages in different age groups. And I think that's the key factor. When we share experiences online with people, you want to be sharing with colleagues, other teachers from different sectors, from different age groups, because that's how we get the most benefit. So I believe, people shouldn't worry about going narrow. They should stay general and build on those skills, that international language of education that apply to all of us.
Yeah, I would add something to that as well. The fact that we've actually got Mark here, and he's a principal, and we, like me and Chris, are teachers, I found that actually reminded me about how the course was also about learning about the structure of education, not just your classroom, but how you should learn more about how the structure works, how you have the ability to affect it or not to affect it, or what levels you have to go through to talk to management, or whether it's the country that affects it, the education board. So I think those kind of things it opens you up to think about as well.
And linked with that, if I may say, the whole point about people being in this community of learning is vital. You think if you were relying on a surgeon to perform an operation on you, and the last time he undertook his training was his initial 7 years, then you'd be a bit worried, wouldn't you? But in education, we don't emphasize the importance of ongoing learning in community. And again, I think this is why these sort of courses are so important.
Yeah, and I'd like to also add to that as well, that there is actually quite a diversity of students as well. So not only are there's lots of different nationalities of teachers from lots of different backgrounds who are doing the course, also there are increasing numbers of teachers doing the course from other countries as well. So we've recently had a couple of teachers from Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan joining for September next week. We've had teachers from India. We've got a person on this call here from Iran. So there are people from lots of different backgrounds and different education programs and different sort of educational backgrounds, and I think that's really important as well. And it's useful when you leave the course as well, is to have those connections, to have that sort of, as Mark quite rightly said, is to have that sort of that learning community that you can draw upon when you start in a new job. And to be honest, the majority of people here are doing the course to move into another job and to improve themselves. And the more people that you get to know on the course, the more connections that you make, the easier it is, and probably the more successful you'll be in moving into another job.